very high level so far, as JP mentioned. So I'm gonna start and see if the clicking works. All right, get ready to dive into the weeds of developing apps. Already covered that, but what we're going to go through now is how to build an app or integration using all the tools we have available today. These are developer tools, these are APIs, and we're obviously willing to listen to more feedback and anything else you need. So please chat to us afterwards to just give any more requests as well, that how we can help you develop better and more functionable apps on our store. So where does these things, our interactions takes place for developing apps? Easy answer is TikTok Shop Partner Center. We had a really good presentation before by Vinny and Gracie going through Partner Center, showing you where the developer docs are, showing you some of the change logs and how to like interact with them as well. And we're going to look at them again as well, and just a little bit of repetition, but it's going to be a little bit more detailed as well in terms of like what you can do with them. So again, all you need to do is go to Partner Center. Good call out over here is Partner Center is actually different for the UK, rest of the world, and the US. So depending on which country you're developing for, please make sure you go and register on the right Partner Center and build the app in the right Partner Center. If you are building apps for both Partner Centers, you will interact with both of them. Just a good call out and a watch out before you start building your app and registering. All right, JP's mentioned this a few times. I'm going to use the same jargon, ingredients and recipes. So what I'm going to show you right now are the ingredients. What are TikTok Shop APIs, open APIs that you can use to build the apps, to build for the categories Oliver mentioned as well. We went through connectors, we went to multi-channel apps, customer service, and now you're going to see what I call the building blocks for these connectors, for these apps, are APIs. These APIs are REST APIs in which you can utilize to build integrations with. They fall under different categories as are outlined over here. We have APIs for products, orders, finance, cancellations, promotions, fulfillment. And for those of you who are very familiar with the e-commerce landscape, these APIs will seem familiar. They're very standard to what you would use for other platforms, other marketplaces. And for those of you who are interacting for the first time, these are, again, very, very simple, intuitive to use. And we're happy to walk you through them in more detail as well, even after these presentations. So we'll jump right into a few examples of what these APIs look like. Let's start off with products. So first thing you need when you're selling something on TikTok Shop is products. How do you create products? We've seen a few ways you can do that. We saw how you can do that in Seller Center. That's our platform where you can go and upload your catalog up to your products. But how do you do that programmatically? How do you do that through an app or an integration? You do that through our REST APIs again. The first API we're looking at is products. Very intuitive, as you can see. For those of you who are familiar with e-commerce APIs, there's an API to create a product. There's an API that helps you delete a product. Inventory is super important as well. So stock and pricing. So our APIs will help you trigger these updates. They'll help you enable creation of products, deletion of products. But this is just a sample. There is a lot that goes into creating products, a lot more that's needed. And for that, you will have to go through our developer documentation. And if you have questions, again, we have resources that can help you. Let's move on to orders. So very equally, if not more important than products, is orders. This is where GMV comes into, which we've seen our seller panel talk about in great detail. So for orders, we have get order details, get order list. Again, they're fairly similar. So when buyers buy products on TikTok Shop, they generate orders. These orders can be queried from our APIs using these two endpoints. Get order details will give you the detailed order information. This is addresses. This is the type of order, the quantity of products in there, everything you can think of that you need to fulfill an order or get what the right order is. Get order list will obviously give you a more holistic list of all the orders that are coming into your shop. So think of, again, of like Seller Center, where if you're operating it manually, all these orders are coming in. This API will help you pull in those orders into your app, into your system, view the details. And once you view the details, you can move to the next step, which is fulfillment of orders. So another call out over here. Some of our APIs, as you can see, are marked as new. This refers to the update we made last year where we released new APIs, which are much easier, more intuitive, and more stable to use compared to our legacy ones. So for anyone who's starting to build on TikTok Shop, and for anyone who has already built and is looking to migrate, I highly encourage using our new APIs for all your functionality that you're about to build. Moving back to fulfillment though, once you have orders, you need to fulfill orders. And in order to do that, again, you will interact with our APIs, mark package as shipped, as the name suggests. You can mark a package as shipped or an order as shipped by giving it a tracking number using this API, making sure there are no errors. And hopefully when that goes through, your buyer can get a notification and start waiting for that order to come through. The other ones are very similar as well. There's a batch shipping mechanism that allows batch shipping through batch ship packages, and confirm package shipment as well, which is just a confirmation. So once we have fulfillment, we can look at something else as well. Cancellations and returns. So obviously this closes the loop. So you have products, you have orders, you have fulfillments, and very now and then you have cancellations that come through. Cancellations are two ways. They can come from the buyer. They can also come from the seller. So it's very, very important to build for both those use cases. We will go through maybe in some of the other slides on like what kind of cancellations are there, or like when an order can be canceled versus when it can. But just for information over here as well, it's really, really important to build for cancellations. And after cancellations, returns. So once the purchase and fulfillment cycle is finished, there is a 30-day window for the buyer to request a return as well. These returns can again be addressed in Seller Center, but we want to build integrations with it. So we have our APIs that enable returns as well, that are hugely important for the integration purposes. All right, I think we covered all the examples for APIs. And I'm going to pass it on to Gracie again, who did a great job showing Partner Center before.
Thank you, Umar. All right, so now you have finished the development for your app, and I want to walk you through the overall process, how you launch your app to the App Store. So I have touched a little bit on in this morning. We have two types of apps. First is public, another one is custom. So for the public, it's really about showcasing your apps on the TikTok Shop App Store, where sellers can discover your apps within the TikTok Shop App Store, and seller, of course, can install and authorize, and they can connect to their TikTok Shop accounts. And then for custom app, sellers cannot discover that on the App Store. However, you can share the authorization link directly to your sellers to have them connect to the TikTok Shop accounts. And then, of course, since public app will be launched to the TikTok Shop App Store, we will have some of the additional reviews. So I have bring up this little chart to show you. So for public public app launch, the first thing you have to go through is the registration review, where we'll collect some of the information about your entity, such as the certificate of incorporation and working environment. And then after that, if you are launching an app to the US and UK market, well, you have to go through a data security and privacy review and additional a USDS review if you are launching for the US market. And then the next one is called the language listing review. This is really what you're gonna show to the sellers on the App Store. So we want to make sure the description you provided matches to the app functionalities. And then app review, of course, is to test on the functionalities within your app to make sure the quality is good. And then for the last one is called beta testing review. Right now, it's only required for a public connector app. So during this stage, you will have like 3 authorization up to 10 maximum. And then we will test on the app quality. And then after that, you are ready to do a full launch to the App Store. And then custom app will be only go through the registration review. So those are the differences between when you public app versus a custom app. And then moving next, we'll want to show you visually how it be like within the Partner Center. So if you are publishing a public app, so if you look at the checklist on the right, if you see the green icon, that means you already passed that review. And if that still remain in gray, that means you still have to go through that review process. And then this would be like if you are at the beta testing stage, specifically for the public connector app. And then this is the checklist for the custom app. Okay. All right. So after you hear the different flows for public versus custom, you might wonder, can I convert a custom app to a public app? The answer is yes. So after you launch your custom app, you will see this upgrade to public tab at the top of the partner center. And then you can click on that and follow the step to convert that from a custom to a public. All right. Another question we get a lot is that, can I edit my public app after I launch it to the App Store? The answer is yes. All right. So if you click on the listing review section, then this window will pop up. And then on the top right corner, if you click on edit draft, then you are allowed to edit all the fields within the listing field. And then other than that, if you want to edit the type of seller your app is exposed to, you can also do that within the partner center. So if you click on that and then you will see the different options, and you can click on the edit seller tab, then you can make a modification on that. All right, but please be aware that if you edit your app, you will have to go through a review again. All right. Okay, so after you launch your app to the App Store, you can actually to view your seller authorization within Partner Center as well. So this is just a tab to show you the feature options we have for all the sellers authorization. You can check within this menu. All right, and then I will pass to Cole for the development kit.
Okay, hi everyone, my name is Cole and I am the Developer Tools PM. And so when you guys integrate with our APIs, we want to give you all the tools that you need so that you can be successful. And so I'll quickly go over all of the tools that we have that's available to you. So the first one we have is our development shops. So in a normal e-commerce experience, a seller would use our seller center. But then when you guys develop your apps, you will also need to have this environment so that you can create test data. And so basically you guys can create dev shops in our partner center, and then this will generate a real seller center account for you. We have tagged these accounts as test accounts so that they don't affect our production environment seller center accounts. And so for these accounts, we have a buyer view and then also a seller view. And so basically, initially when this product launched, it was a very manual process. So you create an account and then you have to submit your KYC materials, and then you will have to use a TikTok account and use your real credit card to purchase. But then we've simplified all this process so that now when you use our dev shops, you can just create the account and then it'll be created in about 2 to 3 minutes. And then you can create orders instantly. And then after the order is created, you can do things like, actually, you create products. And then after you create products, you create orders. And then you can fulfill, and then you can run through all the e-commerce processes like returns or refunds. And then these accounts, they mimic essentially all the features that are in a live environment. Okay, and the next one is, so we have a API testing tool. So basically what this is a Postman-like tool where you can make API calls. And then we've simplified everything so that you can just use a dropdown to select the API that you want. And then you can authorize the development shop that you just created. And then you can make API calls and see what our APIs look like and the responses. And then the next we have webhooks. So we have a log where you can view all the webhooks that you have subscribed to. And so this is just a way for you to check. For example, in the initial stage, if you don't have anything set up yourself, you can use this tool to check all the webhooks that come through. And then finally, we have a API log as well. So for all the API calls that you make through your app, you can audit these API logs through our system, and then you can check to see the requests and response as well. Okay, and then thanks.
All right, thank you, Cole. All right, stand that side this time. So that was a lot to take in, I'm sure. So maybe I'll just do a quick pop quiz in the room and see if everyone's paying attention still. So let's go through what we've gone through. Let's summarize. We've gone through our APIs, the building blocks. the ingredients that what we call them that are going to be used to build the integrations. We've gone through how to publish our app or create the app, and Cole's just run through what are our developer tools. So maybe quick fire questions. How many different types of apps can you create on our partner center? Can anyone answer that? Great. Can anyone tell me what those two are? Perfect. Can you? Yeah. All right. I'll repeat the question and the answer. So the question was, how many different kinds of apps can you create on TikTok Partner Center? There are two types of apps, public and custom. Next question, can you upgrade your custom app to public? Great answer. Can you edit your public app once it's published? Once it's published and you edit it, it goes to review again. Great. We have people paying attention over here. Great. Awesome. And I'll do a few quick fire ones for tools as well. So in order to test your integration, what kind of shop would you use? I think I get perfect. I gave the answer over there. So I'll ask a follow-up to that one. What's the difference between a developer shop and a real shop? Can anyone answer that? It is. And could you explain a little bit more what that means then, once it's flagged as a test shop? Exactly. So our developer shops are invisible to a user that's using the TikTok shop app, or sorry, the TikTok app and interacting with shops. So a shop that's tagged as test or as a developer shop, real users won't be able to see, but you will be able to test them using an app because you'll connect that developer shop to that app. I don't think we're doing Q&A right now, so maybe we'll save that for later. Okay, sure. Like let's do one. Yeah.
Can you convert an existing shop to a test shop?
Yes and no. You can't do it in TikTok Shop Partner Center. I can tell you that, but it is possible. All right, and we'll save the. Yes, we'll save the questions for later, but these are all great, and I'm glad you guys are thinking about these things, by the way. So let's keep moving on. Let's move on to ARDs. And what is an ARD? An ARD stands for App Requirement Document. I'll use JP's jargon again. An ARD is the recipe, right? So if we're thinking of APIs as the building blocks, as the ingredients, our ARD is basically the recipe, the cooking book, the implementation guide for you to integrate with our APIs and build something. These are best practices that we've seen work for the categories we have ARDs for. And that's what we strongly recommend for you to build a very, very strong app. And as we'll go through those categories, you'll see there's still categories out there that we need ARDs for that we're working on. And that gives you an opportunity to build something new and innovative on TikTok Shop. So this is what an ARD looks like. These ARDs, we'll see where they are in Partner Center, but I'll pause here again, what an ARD shows. If you see the three basic columns that I would ask everyone to pay attention to, and for those in the back that can't see the screen, please look at your left to what I'm referring to. So the module basically gives you what the ARD category is. So that's if you're in an ARD for connectors or ARD for multi-channel apps. There's obviously a lot of functionality that needs to be built for catalogs. So the module will give you information on what that function area is for the functionality. Is catalogs in this case, and uploading the catalogs. Features are really, really important. We call this features in terms of what needs to be built for the catalog. In this case, we won't go into too much detail what map category means or what list products before product listing mean, but that's self-explanatory though. But this will give you the area in upload catalog that you can build use cases again. These are called features. Lastly, use cases. This is what I would call the most important aspect of an ARD. This will give you one, what needs to be built for this integration to be successful. So let's take an example over here. It's the seller uploads product certification or set required attributes by category rule. Just to dive a little bit more deeper into that, what that means is in order for a seller to upload a product, it is necessary for products to have, and this is only for certain categories, certifications and certain attributes. So in order for a product to get uploaded successfully, you will have to support this in the integration. How you support this integration is actually a double click on those hyperlinks that you see in the use cases. So in this case, UC111211, that is clickable actually. That's why it's highlighted. You can click into it. What we'll give you is a map, again, a recipe of all the APIs that can be used and which order they should be used to support this use case. So hopefully that's clear, but we will definitely take questions after the session as well on this. And as I mentioned, we have ARDs very successfully created for certain categories, and we're creating these for others as well, for which we're still developing APIs for as well. So what are the main ones that we have ARDs for today? Connector apps. We've seen from seller interviews, we've seen from people on the panel over here talk about like how successfully we build like integrations with Shopify. Those have all been accomplished through our ARDs and through the learnings we have like learned while building those connector apps with Shopify, with other platforms like Magento, BigCommerce. Multi-channel apps, again, are very similar. I think someone called it the control center. So multi-channel apps will help you connect to multiple marketplaces, and we have an ARD for that as well. Catalog management is just very, very specific to managing a catalog, integrating that with TikTok Shop. Order management, same as catalog management, just for orders, and shipping is the same as well. Customer service, we have a brand new ARD for this that's available now. And then there are other categories as well, just for financing, accounting, print on demand, drop shipping. And if you, and seller developer basically means you build your own custom app for a specific seller in mind with specific seller features that they require. So these are what exists today. And as I said, we're exploring and building more as we speak. So stay tuned. You'll see a lot more come in this area in the future as well. Where do we find our ARDs? The great question. So it's on Partner Center. It's in our developer documentation. And if you go to developer guides, there is a section called app development. And within it, you will see the ARDs. And as I've walked you through before in that static image, there are three main columns that you should pay attention to. I'll also maybe call attention to the fourth one when the video repeats. But when you double click into the ARD, this is what you get. This is what I call the implementation guide. We'll pause here again when the image comes, but this shows you all the APIs that need to be used to support that use case. So again, let's run over this again. Go to developer documentation, developer guide, multi-channel apps. We'll click on a use case over here. In this case, UC 11216. And how do you support that? How do you support image uploads to TikTok Shop? This will give you all the APIs in a neat UML as well. And you'll see what needs to be implemented from the API perspective. So yeah, please definitely visit this. Please definitely try to go through as much as you can. And like I said, if you have questions, there are resources here that can help support you. And with that, I'm going to pass it off to Cole again.
All right, so I'm just going to jump in quickly to talk about our widgets. And so this is technically a developer tool as well. So widgets, what they are is they're a UI interface component along with backend services that developers can just just plug into their apps directly without calling any APIs. And so previously we have things that you guys can create via APIs, but there are certain things that we have basically widgetized. And so most of these are seller center functions. And so you guys can just plug it into your app, and then it normally takes 1 to 2 days to integrate. So it's very easy and fast. And then you can provide this to your sellers so that it can increase their experience or efficiency. And so one example is this. So we noticed that our 4PL APIs, there's not a lot of penetration for developers, but they still want to offer this to their sellers, but they don't want to create API logic in their app. And so basically in Seller Center, this is what it looks like. And then we've widgetized this, and then we have an example. So Silk integrated onto this 4PL widget in their app. And so it actually looks basically the same so as Seller Center. And so the seller will actually have the same experience as they would in Seller Center, but they don't need to jump out of the connector app to complete their 4PL fulfillment. And so basically the value of this is that if a 4PL order comes in, normally they need to jump out of Seller Center and then log in and then fulfill. But now they don't need to do that because it'll be in the connector app itself. And then right now we have different widgets. So during the onboarding step before you create products, you can sellers will need to configure warehouse shipping templates. And so those two we actually don't even have APIs for. And so for these two steps, if you want them to be completed in your app, you can only give them, like, for example, a notification and then have them jump out of your app and then go to Seller Center. And then the 4PL fulfillment that we just mentioned earlier, and also a product optimizer. So if you, for example, are doing a connector app and then you purely focus on migrating products and then also syncing orders, and you're not really focused on optimizing products, but the seller might still need it. So you guys can integrate onto this. And like I said, there's no API logic that's needed, so you don't need to spend a lot of dev resources to get this integrated. And yeah, that's everything for widgets. And then who's on developer support?
All right. Hello, everyone. I'm sure we'll get very sick of me pitching Discord throughout the day, but here I am again. I'm going to go through a couple of the different ways for you to get support in your journey in building and innovating. You're going to run into issues. You're going to run into things that may or may not be possible. And what we've got set up here are ways for you to figure out the solution to your issue, or help us build to make sure that your solution for our sellers is a possibility in the future. So first up, we've got tickets. Those can be started in your partner center down to submit a ticket, and you can create a support ticket there to be able to have the team investigate your issue, and there will be room for back and forth until that issue is resolved. Some of our partners are able to directly connect with their account managers through Lark. So that is another avenue for you to get support, not only in the issue solving, but future planning and getting updates in terms of what's coming up in the pipeline, things like that. Next up, if you're feeling adventurous and you want to really dive in and find the information for yourself, our developer docs, as Umar dove into, are really well built out, and we're continuously updating those to make sure that you have the proper support when you're out there building and learning and trying something new. And just recently launched, we do have our Discord. This is meant to be able to bring that support that would exist in a ticket from a one-to-one perspective to a one-to-many, because the worst thing when solving an issue directly in a ticket is that no one else has visibility into what that solution was or how you got there. So we want to make sure that if someone else has run into the issue that you're running into, you can find that solution, or down the road, someone else can find that solution. So we have technical support channels within the Discord. We have weekly office hours with our solutions engineers each Friday at 2 p.m. Pacific to be able to sit down and live test through things and be able to sit there and chat with a real person in real time, which is infinitely better than going back and forth 20 times in a support ticket. So as you can see, we've got several different ways for you to get support there, not only in our Discord, but also through the partner center there, which we also have different avenues of engagement within the community. We have ways for you to get information about API updates, policy changes, new APIs that are added, and other important information for you to know, including things like this event, more events to come. We have our monthly newsletter that will get sent out that will contain any sort of API changes that happened throughout the month. You'll also see API changes in your message center within Partner Center. And we have a section on the Discord specifically for API updates. So you'll get notified there too. So we have different ways for you to remain engaged. Discord is probably going to be the most interactive for you, but if you are more interested in kind of the snippets, there is the newsletter, the Partner Center messages, but also you can subscribe to individual channels within the Discord if you are just interested in making sure that you have the important updates that may impact the API or your business. But networking opportunities and events, those will be primarily hosted in Discord, but we'll also have live events like this that thanks to you all coming today and showing so much interest and the digital attendees, we are definitely planning more. So keep an eye out for that. But yeah, thank you. Make sure to get involved in the Discord if you haven't already. It's an invaluable tool for networking and getting in touch with our team. Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone. So I'm here to talk about a small island that we have off the east coast of the US, the UK. So I've been with TikTok Shop for the last 2.5 years working in the product team. At the beginning, we didn't have any APIs, but I want to try and raise awareness today of what we're also doing there. It's very closely aligned to what you're doing here in the US. So just in terms of like market opportunity, the UK is still a market that's worthwhile you guys investing in. So according to a report in 2022, there's $2 billion worth of revenue that's supported by TikTok in the UK. And actually from a selling perspective in the UK, we're still seeing really strong quarter-on-quarter growth. So we're up 77% already in Q1 from where we were in the UK in terms of sellers that are now using our APIs, primarily through our apps and our partners like you guys are providing here. And that was over 2,500 new sellers that were using our APIs in the UK last quarter. So what does that look like if you want to try and bring those apps that you've built already for the US to the UK? So we've tried to make it as easy as possible for all of you. So actually the APIs that you guys are seeing today within Partner Center, they're largely exactly the same for the UK. The only difference being is you'll have a different app key. So you'll create your Partner Center account in the US, and then you also have a separate Partner Center account for the UK and the rest of the world. So when you build your app for the US, that's largely copy and paste, lift and shift into your UK app, and that can also be extended to both markets that we have today in Southeast Asia and any new markets we might be expanding into later this year, hopefully in Europe, maybe. So it's worthwhile noting you will get redirected based on your geolocation when you go to Partner Center. So if you do want to see the UK one and create your account, just hopefully you can all use a VPN and you can go to the UK Partner Center. It's worthwhile noting, I'm sure all of you guys have already been through this. So we have something called Opus. It's a security questionnaire that you go through. If you haven't built an app today, you can tick US and UK in the same process, and that'll get submitted through our teams and can be combined. If you have already submitted the US one, you'll have to resubmit again for the UK and rest of the world. But besides that, that's the only hurdle you need to come through. So what does our market look like today in the UK? So we've already got over 80 public apps that are available through our UK Seller Center, which is really strong. 29% of those are coming from our connector apps. So think of those connecting your Shopify stores to TikTok Shop, really like productizing that core e-commerce operations that you might be using for TikTok Shop. So that's like syncing your products, managing your orders, sharing the fulfillment information back to TikTok Shop. 13% of those are concentrating on fulfillment, and we're doing a really good job of covering all those bases. We're making it really easy for our sellers to connect to TikTok Shop, bring their products, sync their orders. But what we're really beginning to look at now is like, what are the opportunities that we might have outside of that? And we've already heard from some of our sellers today around areas that we might want to be focusing on, pain points that they have. But right now, like customer service, we have 3 in the UK. We're trying to like ultimately build out that offering. I know Winnie, who's already presented, has worked on the Zendesk app. We've got Gorgeous coming soon, but there's lots of partners today that we'd like to see onboarded on our platform. Another area that we're working on is our returns, especially for some of our bigger key accounts. They want to try and ultimately leverage their returns partners that they already have in place and bring those returns labels into TikTok Shop so they can return those in the same way. And then finance. So finance is sort of one of the areas that we don't really touch on that much. But when you use the order API, you're going to get the order values come back into Shopify. That's not really that accurate for portraying like any accurate level of like P&L. It doesn't give you the breakdown of any platform subsidies, any subsidies that the buyer might have applied through, like discounts. So what we want to do is ultimately try and make that really easy. So when it comes to end of year, businesses are submitting their taxes that they are covered off, and they can actually see how TikTok Shop is performing as a channel for them. But I think there's probably lots of other areas we might want to expand on as well.